So welcome to this preview call for the Parent Peer Leadership Program 2017. I'm really grateful you all made it on this call. There's quite a few more people registered on the call, so I'm imagining there will be people watching this recording as well or listening to it, depending on their technology. And yeah, I'm really happy to have this many people really interested in supporting families. So I'm going to try and keep this call to about an hour, and my intention is to just do some welcome, very brief little teaching tip, and then just open it out, sharing some of the logistics of what the Parent Peer Leadership Program is, you know, what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it, and then open to questions and answers. And wondering if you're all willing, if there's anything anybody else would like to see happen during this time. You can raise your hand like this, or there's a button where you can raise your hand.
So Ingrid, I figured I would do a real quick thing and tell people how to raise their hand and how to mute if they need to, and that might help us in our time together.
That'd be a great way to start. Let's start with that.
So if you move your mouse around on your screen, and this is if you're on a computer, telephones and tablets will operate a little bit differently, but most people show up on computers, so I'll go with that one. Move your mouse around on the screen. It'll activate a menu at the bottom of the screen. You'll see an option for participants. If you click that, it'll open a box over to the right that will list everybody on the call. At the bottom of that list, it says raise hand. And this works when we only have 12 people, but if we get more than that, you're going to want to use the raise hand option on the electronics so that we can definitely tell you're raising your hand. If you decide to lower your hand, just click that again and it will lower your hand. The other option there is chat. It's like 2 sections over from participant at the bottom of your screen. Click that and it will open a chat box to the right. And in the chat box, you can chat with everyone or you can chat with individual people by selecting their name out of the drop-down list. You'll type your message where it says type message here and then press enter on your keypad and that'll send the chat. The only other thing I think you might want to know is how to mute yourself or unmute yourself. On the bottom left hand of your screen, you'll see the microphone icon. You can click that to mute or unmute. There's also a video camera there if you're showing up on video, and you can click that to turn your video on or off if you should need to. I think that'll get us going. There's lots more fun things you can do with Zoom, but that's a great place for us to get started.
Great. Thank you, Robin. Yeah, I'd love to start just with a quick settling in. And Stephanie and I, who co-lead this program, Stephanie was wanting very much to be on this call, and it happens to be right now. She's living in Florida, right in the possible wake of Hurricane Irma. So she is busy with her family trying to get ready and make sure that everybody is safe, and so she wasn't able to be on this call today, but she sends her regards. So usually Stephanie and I are either co-leading the call together, or one or the other of us are leading the call, and we both have our own separate ways, but we both love to start with some way of just bringing us into the present moment. And I'm wondering, I just want to invite you now to join me in that. And, you know, if you're willing, I invite you to close your eyes and just take a deep breath. And maybe another deep breath. Settling down into your body, feeling the gravity and the weight of your body, the places where your body is sitting or touching the chair, your feet on the ground, your hands in your lap or wherever they happen to be. And just breathing and feeling. Really bringing your awareness into your sense of feeling. Feeling the warmth or the coolness where you happen to be. Feeling of the clothes on your skin. Your hair against your cheek. Anything that you're noticing that your body is feeling right now in its senses. Just breathe and feel. Inviting you now to listen. I invite you to listen far out to the left-hand side. Listening out as far as you can listen. Aware of all the sounds that attract your attention. And listening also for the quietest sound. Bringing our attention to the right-hand side. Again, listening out as far as we can listen for both that which is attracting our attention and then listening for the quietest sound. Bringing our attention behind us to listen out far behind us. And now in front of us. And listening above, listening high up above your rooftop, right out into the clouds as far as you can listen. Now listening down below you, right down into the earth, where the roots are stretching and the worms are moving. Breathing in and listening in all directions at once, as far as you can listen to my voice and also to the quietest sound. And breathing in once more, I invite us to put our hand over our heart. And bringing our attention there to listen from there also in a different way. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And I'd love to hear, since there aren't so many of us on the call, I'd love to hear you can see your name, but just as I call your name, I'd love to hear just very briefly where you're calling from. And in one brief sentence, why you're on this call today, what your curiosity is. So I'm going to start with you, Robin, and then Patricia.
Hi, my name's Robin O'Brien. I'm in Frederick, Maryland, and I am on the call today because I'm really curious to see who might be interested in joining us for this next year.
Thanks, Robin. Patricia, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Patricia. I'm calling from Sacramento, California. And I was very curious to know about the details of the program because I had heard people that it's a very good program, and I'm interested in everything that has to do with NBC. That's one of the areas that I want to expand my knowledge.
Thank you, Patricia. Christina and then Amy. Robin, can you unmute them for me? Thanks. Nope, she's still muted. Hang on one second. There we go. Go ahead.
Do I have to go?
Yes, go ahead, Christina, if you're willing.
I'm Christina, and I'm calling from Italy. And I'm here because I'm very interested in NVC and to make NVC more and more part of my life. And I'm very interested in children and
Thank you, Christina. Thanks. So Amy, and then Rolf.
Hi, I'm calling from Germany, and I'm very interested in the program because I've worked for years as a Montessori teacher with children between 3 and 6, and I've noticed what a great difference it makes when NVC is used. I would love to spread more of it. That's it.
Thank you, Amy. Rolf, and then Reynold.
Yes, hello. I'm called Andy Baur from Germany, and I'm interested in this program because I had that good experience in using NVC with my own children, and how the connection to my children changes with NVC, and I want to share this experience with other parents.
Thank you, Auntie.
Yeah.
Reynold, and then Julia.
Deanna. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And my main interest is circles around my relationship with my daughter, who is disabled adult, 51 years old. And we have a very volcanic relationship from time to time. And I'd like to know more about how that works and why things don't go more smoothly.
Thank you, Reynold. Julia, and then Jaya.
Yeah. So hello everyone, I call you from China, where I work in a Montessori school as a Montessori educator. And I started sharing NVC around me with my colleagues, so within the teachers team. And I like to implement it more in the classroom with the children and also sharing it with the parents. So I'm looking for support by participating to that program.
Thank you, Julia. Jaya, and then Claudia.
Hi, my name is Jaya, and I live in Nevada currently, and I was a teacher for over 10 years and used NVC in my classrooms, and am now looking at supporting parents and having deeper connection with their children and themselves, and doing that through coaching. And I wanted to see what this program was and just see what other people are doing.
Thank you, Jaya.
Thank you.
Claudia, and then Michael.
Hi, I'm Claudia.
I see that there are new people joining us, so just wanting to say, we're just saying where we're calling from, and one brief sentence about what brought us to this call.
Hi, I'm Claudia, and I'm calling from the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And my interest is also in using NVC with my 10-year-old son. Similar to others, I think at times anyway, I find that I go more quickly into power over rather than power with. And I'd really like to, I just finished a year-long program with Kathy Simon in California, and it was really great. And I want, to continue that learning and really bring it home.
Thank you, Claudia. Michael, and then Scott.
Hi, my name is Michael Sheely. I love NVC. I teach empathy as my work, and I have a couple of stepkids that are 13 and 10. where I find it sometimes hard to apply the things that I know effectively. There's my stepsons, and I just had a son. He's 5.5 months old. So I've been doing this work a lot in other fields, and I'm interested in applying it to children more.
Thank you, Michael. Scott, and then Sharni.
Hi, everyone. My name is Scott. I'm calling from Reno, Nevada. I apologize for not having a camera yet, but I will get that taken care of. And the reason I'm here today is to just get a sense for the teaching style of this program, and also to understand a little bit more about how it's structured, frequency of calls and interaction and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
And then Sharni, oh, there you go. There's your video came and went. Oh, there you are.
Yes.
Great. Awesome.
Hello there. I'm Shani. I'm mother of 2 boys, 8 and 10. And I'm really wanting to help myself and our boys to meet the challenges of daily family life and school life with more love and warmth and compassion. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about how the course will be run also, and how I can participate. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharni. Are you calling in from Australia?
Yes, Sydney, Australia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Samantha. Go ahead, Samantha. You have a mic.
Okay, so my name's Samantha, and I live in Long Beach, California. And I have a 25-year-old stepdaughter. So it's not so much about raising children, but I'm also a teacher for LA Unified. And I currently, well, actually this last year, I just started giving a training to teachers about using empathy in the classroom. So I'm looking at how to perfect my skills and be more effective as a trainer of NVC in the classroom.
Thank you, Samantha. And I see a 615 area code. And just one second, I'm wondering if that is you, Beth, again. Is that you? Oh, no, Liz. Is that Liz?
It's Liz. It's Liz.
Great.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are. Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Liz, and I am calling from Tennessee, and I live in a town outside of Nashville called Murfreesboro, along with Beth Morgan, who is another assistant on the PPLP. And we've both been involved about, gosh, I don't know, 4 years, and been studying together for quite some time, and love PPLP for so many reasons. It's become my family. So that's all I have. I'm complete.
Thank you, Liz. A 706 area code. This is Ingrid. Who's this, please?
706 area code is, my name is Gay Ortiz. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. And I'm calling in to really get some wisdom. And I have a little boy in our household. He's almost 3, and so the challenges there are, it's been a long time since I've had a child. This is actually our great-grandson. So just trying to learn how to take care of him and meet his needs as he's learning to verbalize.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gay. And so, as you probably know by now, I'm Ingrid. I'm calling in from an island on the west coast of Canada called Salt Spring Island, and in British Columbia. And I'm on this call because I'm one of the people co-leading this call, and I'm really hoping to share with you just a little bit to help you get a little bit of a sense of what this call might be about and if it might be a fit for what you're looking for and to answer any questions that people have about the program. And yeah, I think, and I was trying to think about, what did I want to like send something with you besides just information? And trying to think about something that I could do say very shortly in a few minutes that might be something that you could take with you into your day. And I thought of a few things, and so this is the one that I'm going with. Because it's hard to actually give you a sense. I love that Scott said, a sense of the teaching style. Not sure that you'll be able to get a full sense of that on this call, but you'll get a sense a little bit of what the calls are like, because we do use this Zoom platform for our calls. But it was just a little something that was really supportive to me. And I want to mention that the person who created and founded this program was Ingrid Baur, who was also one of the co-founders of Bay NBC in the Bay Area in California in the United States. And yesterday was the 3rd anniversary of Ingrid's passing. She worked on this program for many years, and it was really a big vision of hers. And she finally launched it in 2006. And at that time, we started with an in-person family camp, a week-long family camp, and then we ran a 9-month long-distance program on the phone, a little bit different. We couldn't see each other. We were on the phone and through computers. So there were a lot of similarities. And a lot of the materials, most of the materials that we're using were created by Ingrid and her sister, Mickey Kashtan. Some of you may have heard of Mickey if you're familiar with the NBC world and some of the more international trainers. And in 2007, Ingrid was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And so she was actually only able to lead this program for 1 year. I was her assistant in that first year, 2006. In 2007, she asked me if I would carry this program forward for her, because which I, at the time, and still do feel to be an incredibly great honor to carry what I see as her legacy of really wanting to bring nonviolent communication to more families, to parents. It was her biggest dream that this would be seeded in communities around the world, and that there would be ripples like concentric rings, like when you drop a pebble in a pool of water and you just see those ripple effects. That was her dream of what this program would be. And we've seen that happen over the years. We've been on, I think, 4 continents, in many, many different countries, across numerous time zones, people connecting, people, I've met people from all over the world, both online and in real life, and made a lot of connections through that. And this work is reaching many people in little grassroots ways through this program. And I'm so grateful for that. And I just want to express my gratitude to Ingrid as one of my great mentors in nonviolent communication and really living compassion, what it truly means to live compassion in your family. She was a great teacher to me. And I also want to honor Marshall Rosenberg and as a great teacher in my life. So now, why did I talk about that? Probably just because I needed to. Wanted to check what that. Yeah. So this is kind of a piece that I got from Ingrid a long time ago. I chose this because I wanted to honor her in that. And it was just that awareness that of really tapping into our needs at a level that is really deep and can resource us. Because in any given moment, there are so many needs on the surface that we're bouncing up against and that we're noticing in us and that are coming alive because they're met or because they're not met. And at any given moment, we can probably identify those. But when we're working with children, we bounce up also against some things that feel pretty urgent sometimes, and that can be really difficult and stressful. And this little piece that she gave me was really helpful to think about how we can root ourselves more deeply. And it's related to something that she's created called the Nonviolent Communication Tree of Life, and that's something that I'll be sharing during the program. And part of that, the tree, of course, are the roots of the tree. And so I want you to imagine that there is some moment in your day when a child in your life comes to you and bounces up against your needs in a way that feels a little bit stressful, a little bit contracting. Does that ever happen for anybody in their day? Anybody have children like that in your life? Yeah, that bounce up against your needs, and there's kind of like that feeling that goes on, and you begin to notice that there's something alive in you, and you're so grateful to know what it is, right? And if you have any background in NVC, and we do ask that all the people who come into the Parent Peer Leadership Program do have some background in NVC, and we'll talk a bit more about that later. But you know, when you bring yourself to awareness of that, you might be checking in on what is that need. And I want to talk about that need, but I also want to talk about the needs underneath. So I want to give an example that I often give because it happens to me often. I work at home. I'm often on the computer or on the phone, often have deadlines going on, different things happening. And because our home is not that big and I have a door, children often come in it and they want to either tell me something they're really excited about, or they really need a ride right now, or something happened that they're upset about that they want me to tell about. So whether they're coming with enthusiasm or with an inquiry or with something they're upset about in a conflict, I notice that it tends to bump up often against this need of, I want some space, I want some focus, some consideration, I'm just in the middle of this, or some efficiency. And, anybody have that happening in their life? They're trying to get something done and children arrive, right? And they're so full of life. And so I can notice that. I can pay attention to that. Wow, right in this moment, I'm noticing this contraction in my chest and in my gut. And I'm telling myself a story right now. I'm just not going to get this done before I have to go drive that other kid to a riding lesson. And so I'm wanting some support, some consideration. I'm wanting some understanding for all that I have to do now. And I just want some space and some time so I can get this done efficiently. That happens in me on a regular basis. And if I choose to respond from that place, even self-connected to those feelings, I notice that there still might be a little contraction there, and that I might tend to move more quickly to self-expression than would serve the connection. I might want to, let this child know these needs that are alive for me because they're important, and I want to share them and I want to express, and maybe then go right to a request. But if I just take a moment of pause and I drop into what's deeper, what is it that I'm really, really longing for in terms of my connection with my child, in terms of the quality of relationship that I would like to have with this human being who's so precious to me? Often something else can happen. It opens some space in my heart. It softens that contraction a little bit. When I can really tap into what I'm really longing for is for my children to deeply know that they matter to me, to deeply experience acceptance and a sense of welcoming in their home and in their relationship with me. That what I'm so wanting is a strong bond of connection. And, for them to know also that they have the support that they need. And just even saying that right now in this moment and connecting in with those needs, I can feel that softening around my heart and that softening in my belly. And then my response can come from that much more deeply resourced place that is not quite so tight anymore. That's not so like, gosh, right now I'm just really needing focus. I'm wanting to finish this, and I'm wondering if, you could come in 10 minutes and tell me what you had to say. We're just rather, it's like, wow, hi, welcome. I'm hearing you're really excited, or I'm hearing you're really upset. And I really care about that, and I want to know. Right now, my focus is is right here, and I want to give you my full attention. And I'm wondering, are you able to hold it for just about 10 minutes till I get this done, and then you can have all my attention. And just a different quality that I bring in from that deeper root. That's a piece that I guess it's my version of it, but I got that as a seed from my connection with Ingrid Baur. So that was the little piece that I was wanting to share with you on this call, hoping that it might contribute just a little something to your day that you can take with you from this call, besides just a bunch of information. So yeah, and I'd love to see, just by some nodding heads, did that resonate in your hearts? Was that sweet to hear? Wonderful. Right. And so I still want to give you that information too. And Robin, maybe you can open your mic too, and we can start talking about a little bit about what is the PPLP, why. I think I gave a little bit about the what and the why. The program created by Ingrid Baur, and then continues to evolve through then my leadership, and then Stephanie, who was initially an assistant, also became a certified trainer then, and joined me also in leading the PPLP. And we have several assistants, two of whom are on this call, Robin and Liz. Robin is our techno wizard extraordinaire who does all these things I don't know how to do, and does them way more quickly than I can imagine, and is super supportive and helping in the technological end, as well as having a ton of experience with NVC within her own family, and also sharing it with others. And Liz as well, same, besides the technical part, also has a lot of experience with NVC and sharing it. And both have been both were initially students in the PPLP, but have been assistants with us for several years. So I don't even know how long you've been with us, Robin. It feels like forever. 7 years? 6 years? All right, I can't even count.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow, I love that. So,
yeah, and just on that note, Ingrid, just to point out that the way the program's run, the assistants are all people who have completed the program. All of the assistants have been through the program as a participant at least 1 year, and this year we have 6 assistants. I'm not even the one who's been here the longest. Actually, Anna has been in the program longer than I have, and she's been an assistant the last few years too. So there is a wealth of support in the assistant portion of this program. John will be with us. So we have one man from Germany, and then I think 5 women from primarily around the United States.
And Canada.
And Canada, yes. But you're a trainer. You're the leader.
Right. So yeah, and so the intention of the PPLP was set up along the model. Ingrid was inspired by the La Leche League model, which is a breastfeeding organization that supports women in learning about breastfeeding, and it's a peer support. So again, people who have gone through it themselves support other parents. And the intention of the PPLP is not for people to necessarily become a trainer, although we've actually had numerous people go through the program who've gone on to become certified trainers. Stephanie is one example, or to become independent trainers, whether they're certified or not by CNVC. And but that is not the primary intention, although it can be used in that way. The intention is to support people, to support others, parents or educators in their community. And so it might be a parent who is really enjoying how NVC is working in her family and is really excited to share it at her child's school. Or she might have a group of friends and just share it with her friends. Or it might be somebody who's working as a therapist and is wanting to share NVC with the families that they're working with. Or it could be a teacher, various different kinds of teachers sharing NVC in different kinds of learning situations, or preschools. We've had all of those things and different combinations of those things be part of the PPLP. We've had people with no children in their early 20s. We've had people with grandchildren. So there's been many reasons people come to the PPLP, but basically it's intended as a leadership program. So the first half of the year focuses on really supporting people to integrate nonviolent communication more deeply into their own lives, which is usually into their family life or into the life where they're working with children in some capacity. Perhaps they're teachers themselves or therapists. And then the second part of the PPLP, while you're still going to be definitely integrating deeper learning, starts to look more towards leadership and how you can share nonviolent communication with other people in your community. And there's an entire curriculum that comes with the program as part of the materials that people can use to do that, or they can choose to do it in their own ways. It comes with a huge amount of support materials, in my opinion, way more than you can use in 1 year, which can be somewhat overwhelming until we just let people know you're not expected to necessarily go through it all in 1 year. We've had people be in the program as participants for, I think, up to 4 or 5 years, just because they want to keep deepening with the work and they appreciate the community. So I'm going to maybe turn it over to Robin, because she has such a magnificent understanding of how all the different components of the program, and she helps with a lot of these components.
Thank you, Ingrid. I participated. Ingrid, I'm going to mute your line because we're getting some feedback. Okay. So I participated in the program for the first 3 years that I was part of the program, and then I transitioned into an assistant, and it has been phenomenal. Some of the things that I appreciate about the program, the way that it's structured, in the beginning we meet every week, and that's for the first 5 weeks, and that's like a blast, an intense blast that lets us get to know each other and create some community in that first 5 weeks amongst ourselves and with our trainers, our leaders. After that, we meet every other week, which is kind of a welcome relief after 5 straight weeks. We get a little bit of a break. And in that time, when we go to meeting every other week, we start to create some empathy buddy relationships. So then we are having an opportunity to integrate and work with another partner in the program on the information that we're learning. Our learning in the program, our programs, and Ingrid, I'm not sure how long, what is our time frame this year? Are we going to be an hour and a half or 2 hours?
We're going to be an hour and a half.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
So our programming time is 90 minutes on the Zoom platform, which is very versatile. You can come in on video or on telephone. You can transition between the two. There are times that people hop on the phone to join us and then get home and hop on the video screen. And each session is recorded. So if you have to miss a session or aren't available, then you can go back and review it. And it's great to have those recordings to go back and review, even if you've been live in the session, to be able to take notes, to see how something was done again. It's a tremendous resource. Yeah, so we meet 5 weeks running, then every other week. We have the Empathy Buddy part of the program. We have the recordings. We have really thick resource manuals that you can print off or view online. They're phenomenal materials, and we give you guidance as to what to review for each class. We have a program set up, a schedule of what you can look at. And again, it's an overwhelming amount of material, and you can kind of pick and choose what you can do in any given sitting. There's journals to work through on your own or in partnership. And again, when you're not expected to do all of the journals, do what works for you. In fact, there are times that I haven't even written them down. I've just looked at them and run through them in my head. And that's been enough to support me in going through that program, that part of the program.
And I just want to add that people have a lot of this is to accommodate all the various different learning styles. There are some people who love to do all the journals and write it all down. There are some people for whom that doesn't resonate and they like to either think about it or talk it through with someone. Or there's some people who use it in different ways or don't even focus that much on the journals and just focus on the readings, like to be on the teleclasses or, on the calls, the empathy calls. Maybe you can also mention what that is, Robin, in case there are people who don't know exactly what an empathy partner or empathy buddy is.
Right, good point. So empathy buddy relationships, you'll get paired up with someone else in the program, and the request is that you meet once a week. and spend time engaging in empathy with each other. So, and it could look differently, like one person might go 1 week with sharing and the other person listening, or you could split the time, like half an hour each. And you can work that out however it works for you. I've worked with empathy buddies where we've had 20 minutes total and we've given each other 10 minutes of empathy, and that's been great. That's been something to the purpose of that, I think, is to help us integrate our empathetic skills, our listening skills, our response skills, learning how to make requests to say, I really just want you to listen to me right now, or I'd love to get a reflection of what you heard me say. So being able to practice that in a safe environment and again, integrate that aspect of learning empathy.
I also want to add that for me, a huge part of it is just to be able to receive empathy, because parents or people who work with kids, in my experience, have a huge empathy deficit often. And so just to have a place that you can count on, even when you think you have nothing, there's always something. So.
Yeah. You also have an option to meet with an assistant. Each one of us will go in a rotation, so you'll get to meet with all 6 assistants probably over the course of the 9-month program. Again, usually about an hour. You can use that for empathy. You can use that for guidance in the program. You can pick our brain on how to do something or what our experience has been. You have journal reviews. You can do journals and send those into the assistants, and we'll provide some feedback on the process of journaling or whatever you ask for in that instance. And then you have each other and us. This is just a tremendous resource of community. You know, being able to see other people and hear other people's experiences, to hear that we're not alone, to see how other people are working through things, to use our experience to support other people. It's an amazing, that's the biggest thing for me, is the sense of community. So each year I have people from each year that I've done this program who are still really important parts of my life. And I'd like to make many of you part of that too. And technology-wise, just we have some online resources. We have a wiki that houses everything, and I walk everybody through how to use that. You'll be able to download all the assignments, journals, print things out, and then we use a Yahoo group for email communications and the Zoom platform for this Zoom technology for our interactions, our live interactions.
I can't remember if you had already mentioned sending in assignments if people would like to, that option.
The journals, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Send in journals and assistants will review them and give feedback.
Great.
Yeah.
Good. So I want to welcome also Diane, who's just popped on there. Also one of our assistants, our newest assistant in this program. Diane has been on the program, for many years, and really happy to have you here, Diane. I see that Claudia has her hand up. Would you be willing to unmute her, Robin? Yeah, go ahead, Claudia.
Yeah, hi. I just wondered about the level of privacy or confidentiality around our discussions since you're recording them. And I wanted to know a little bit more about that, if you could share that. Thanks.
Sure. Are you meaning on this call or in general?
Well, you talked about, or Robin talked about, recording the sessions and they can be viewed later. And I just wondered who is the audience that can have access to those recordings, other than, of course, the 9 or 15 or 20 of us who are here.
The audience is everybody who is part of the Parent Peer Leadership Program.
Okay.
It's usually somewhere between 15 and 30 people. Often around the early 20s, somewhere, in there. Those are the people, and our request is that people not share any of those things with others. Of course, we don't actually have control over that, but that is our request, and my sense is that it's respected.
Okay, thanks. So it's not going to be used in training videos for the future or anything like that?
Never at any time. No, it's just for the people who are actually in the program.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. Any questions anybody has? Julia.
Yes, it's not really a question. It's just that here in China it's almost 8 a.m. and I have to leave at 8. So it's just about the time that to say that I will have to leave, and I'm not sure about the next sessions because you mentioned is 1 hour and a half. If it's the same time, which means I will miss the last half an hour. So is that a problem or?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Julia. So this call here is just a informational call. These are not all people who are in the program right now. They're people who are interested in learning more about it. So the actual telecalls and we're hoping to keep this one actually to an hour. So we might be finishing around the time or just after the time where you're leaving. But the actual calls will be on Tuesdays. And we have 2 potential call times right now. Oh man, Robin, they're in Eastern time. So I think one is, I'm in Pacific time. One is at 9 o'clock in the morning, which I believe is noon Eastern time, 9 o'clock Pacific time. So like the time in San Francisco, for example, in the morning. And the other one is at 4 p.m. like San Francisco time or 7 p.m. New York time. And we usually wait until we've had people apply, and then we see what the time zones are that we're dealing with. And then we try and make it work. In the last few years, it's been during the morning time. And sometimes we've also done alternating calls, and occasionally we've even done 2 calls. But we try to make that work, and they are all recorded. It doesn't always work for every single person who wants to be part of it, but they are recorded. And then we also have 2 assistants. Liz is on the call, and wondering, Liz, if you're willing to just give a very quick explanation of what the connection calls are, because that is also something that has supported people who are in different time zones.
Sure, I'm glad to do that. The connection calls are something that Beth and I started doing to meet our own needs because we wanted to deepen connection with people who were participating in the PPLP. And basically, we try to do 2 calls a month, and we try to schedule them so that we get everyone time zone wise in a slot that is, going to be during waking hours and a reasonable time that they could possibly be on the call. We can't be sure we suit everyone, of course, but we try the best we can to vary the calls to give people the opportunity to be on them. And it's just connection calls are not teaching calls. They're more about just connecting with each other, and we do a check-in. If there's something that's alive in people, we make a decision as a group to focus on that if the person is willing, and we ask as we go through, and then so we may have a 15 to 20 minute working session where we might do a role play or a jackal show or an empathy session or just different things that we've done, and then we have just a brief closing circle, and we generally run an hour.
Thank you, Liz. Thanks for that overview. So I'm hoping that answers a little bit for your question, Julia. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else have a question?
Ingrid, I'm seeing a question in the chat that says, will you discuss the cost of the program? And I am going to put a link into the chat that will take you right to the page that has all of the different pricing options that we offer. And maybe you could just speak just briefly to, how we set up the finances. Ask for money. What's important to us.
My preference, just seeing the time, is that people, it's pretty in-depth explained there. If people are willing to go on the website, that's the place about finances. There's also a lot of other information, including a lot of what we went through for the whole description of the program. and we offer 4 different pricing options. And we're also willing to have a discussion with people if, you know, we try to make it work for people, and also trying to meet all the needs of the program as well. So hopefully you'll get a good explanation there, and always open to any questions if there's something that's not clear. Thank you. I hope that answers your question. And Sharni.
Oh, hello.
Yes, did you have your hand up?
Oh, yes, you can hear me? Wonderful. I was going to ask about the time, because being in Australia, if you have one of your PM times, I think I'll be able to join the call about 10 or 11 in the morning, which I work every second Wednesday morning. So depending on which fortnight it falls on, I'll either be able to make the call or not, or never be able to make the call.
Right. So Sharni, I'm not sure if you heard my response to the question about the timing there. There are the 2 times on Tuesdays, and we haven't yet decided which time or whether we'll alternate between them, but those are the timings.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that if it is one of your morning times or midday times, that'll end up being about 2 or 3 in the morning here.
Right.
Which I can't do because I have to work the next day, and I shouldn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought could I just actually put my time in the mix, and if it happens that I can't make the time most of the time, then I'll probably have to wait for a different opportunity to join rather than this year.
Right. You know, it would be helpful if you would be willing to send an email to,
yes.
What is our email? Robin, I think it's nvc@pplp.com. Is that right? I can't even remember.
Actually, Robin O'Brien. Is that Robin O'Brien?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, hello, Robin. Robin has emailed me before, so she knows my contact.
So if you would be willing to just maybe send an email to Robin, just putting in your special request. We take all of those things into account. We look at we spend hours trying to figure out when we should do it, all the different calls, and we can't always accommodate every single person, and we do our very, very best to meet as many needs as possible.
Yeah, that's definitely good. And, you know, if I can't join right now, then I'm sure I'll join next year or the year after when the schedules, you know, become more compatible. So,
yeah. And
thank you for that.
We've had many people from Australia, but it depends on how it fits.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else with a question? Maybe just take one more question if there is one.
I have a question.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
So the Zoom is used for the group meetings, but not for teaching. And so I'm curious how the teaching is done.
Okay, great question. So the teleclasses, which I think you're calling the group meetings, maybe. The teleclasses that I'm talking about, which is the timings that I'm talking about, do take place on Zoom. That's where we all meet together as a group, as you see now, and you can have the choice of just having the speaker view. I have you on gallery view, so I can see all of your faces at once, which I always prefer. And so, sorry, Robin, could you just mute Barney? I'm not sure what happened. Yep. And so what we usually do on a call is that we have, similar to starting, we have like a quick drop-in time, some kind of a check-in, and then there's a teaching piece that happens that's usually, about an hour or maybe more or less, depending on what else we're doing, that will often be related to some of the readings. The topic will be in the schedule, so you'll know what the topic is going to be, and you can bring things to it. It may be didactic teaching, there may be role plays, there may be a lot of question and answer and discussions. We have breakouts, putting people into groups of 2 or 3, depending on the topic. So and then there's usually just a quick closing round at the end. Does that answer your question, Michael? Yeah. Okay, great. So that is maybe the same thing as that the group calls. The teaching happens within those calls, and that's the part that's recorded. The one-on-one sessions, some people choose to have those on the phone, some people choose to do Zoom, and the empathy buddy, again, it's up to you and your buddy whether you want to do that on the phone or whether you want to do Zoom calls or Skype or whatever other system you want to use.
And our terminology has changed over the years. We were on a phone conference system all the way up until last year. And so when we said on the call, that made sense because we were actually on a call.
Right.
Switched into a video conferencing system last year, and I still hear and see in our documentation, I'm trying to weed it out, but it'll say on the teleclass. We're not really a teleclass anymore. Or I'll see you tomorrow on the call. You know, it's really a video conference, and we're slowly shifting our language to more accurately reflect what we're doing, but that can get confusing too.
Great. I see a question from Scott.
Hi, Ingrid.
Yes.
I was just wondering, is there a backup strategy in the event that for whatever reason Zoom isn't working? Do we go over to the telephone, or how does that work?
We have never had Zoom not work.
Oh, wonderful.
So I don't know. One of the reasons we did go with Zoom, and this is a pro Zoom account, I don't know if that makes a difference from the free accounts, but is that they have a really high quality system, and we've actually never had it not work. We have had people who have had challenges sometimes getting on, usually when they're coming through, sometimes they're trying to phone in on Skype or something, but we haven't had many challenges technically, have we, Robin, with people getting on or not? Much less so than when we used to use the Maestro telephone system.
Yes, I've had experience with Maestro, and that's what prompted me to ask this question.
Right. So probably might be helpful to have a plan B, and we actually don't, and we haven't needed it so far.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other burning questions before we close? Please feel free at any time to email. I'll give you my personal email because I can't remember what our actual email is. And that, you know what it is? It's pplp@nvcacademy.com.
No.
Got it?
No. I'll get it for you in just a second. We changed it.
I'm pretty sure that that's what we're still getting. Otherwise, my personal email is instinct, INSTINCT, just the word instinct, @saltspring.com, SALTSPRING.com, saltspring.com. So thank you. We're at the top of the hour, and I want to honor, said it was going to be about an hour, so here we are. I would love to hear all your voices just one more time, and would love to hear just one word, one need that was met for you by joining this call today. Just one word, and I'd like to start with Patricia, and then Christina.
Hang on.
Nope. Patricia has disappeared. So then I will start with Christina and then Amy. Clarity?
Yes. Clarity.
Amy and then Auntie.
Also clarity. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy and then Reynolds.
Yeah, connection.
Thank you. Reynolds and then Claudia.
Understanding.
Claudia.
Heart opening.
Thank you. And Diane and then Hortensia.
Hope.
Hortensia. Oh, you're not. You're muted. Hang on, just 1 second. Go ahead.
Hi, understanding.
Thank you. Jaya and then Julia.
Community.
Thank you, Jaya. Julia, and then Sharni.
So I'm inspired. I'm very excited.
Sharni, and then Samantha.
Caring and understanding.
Thank you. Samantha, and then Liz.
Community.
Thank you. Liz, and then Gay.
Inspiration.
Thanks, Liz. Gay, and then Robin.
Potential. Potential.
Thank you. Robin.
Connection.
Connection, yeah, me too, and companionship on this journey of everything that it takes to raise healthy children in this challenging world that we live in. So I'm really grateful for everything that you do in your own lives. Just the fact that you made it here tells me that you have a commitment to the children in your lives, and that means a lot to me. I hope that I get to see some of your faces during this PPLP, and please feel free to send us any questions. And if you are interested, would love to hear that too, if you're intending to apply and to receive your applications as soon as possible. So again, if you want to go to the website, nvc-pplp.com, you'll find a lot of information there, all the financial pieces and the application form. Thank you everyone for this time. Have a wonderful morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you happen to be. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Right, Claudia, I see your question there. I'll put it into the chat. Actually, I'll just answer it. The start date is usually about the 3rd week in October, and that will be solidified sometime really soon. In fact, it probably already is, but I don't know the exact date.
Somewhere around the 16th, 17th, or 18th. I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that Tuesday is that's around the 16th, 17th, or 18th.
There you go. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, Ingrid. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Robin. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Diane.
I'm going to unmute everybody to say goodbye. Bye.
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 Thank you.